ways after the way you think, because if he can affect the way you think, he can affect your choices. If he can affect your choices, he can affect the way you feel. If he can affect the way you feel, he can affect what you do. If he can affect what you do, then he can stop the progress of God's church going forward to make a difference in the earth. So what are you going to do about that? You got to quit getting it mixed up as to who's God and who's the enemy. When sickness and disease come your way, you got to quit hanging back with such passivity, saying, I wonder why God let this happen to me. Adam and Eve let this happen to you. It's happening because sin's in the world. It's happening because stuff's out there. It's happening because of nature and nurture. It's because of your faulty genes and your environment. It's because of the choices that you made and the traps the enemy has set up for you. So what are you going to do about that? It's about becoming courageous, not because you have to muster up the strength of your own ability, because that you have a revelation of this amazing God who made you in his image as his daughter and put you on the planet in the time he needed you, in the time he wanted you, in the time where he knew if you could just see him in the midst of all of the distractions, if you would just hear him in the midst of all of the voices, if you would lean in to know him, that you would be a part of making a difference for those you come in contact with. God, in fact, is for us, and he wants us not to get mixed up with who's the enemy. The enemy is fighting you because he hates God. The enemy is fighting you because he knows your weaknesses. He knows where your mama lost it. He knows where your daddy failed. He knows where your grandpa, he knows the things you don't know about your family tree. A family tree can be a scary place. I don't know if you found that out yet. My family trees are very scary. There's incest. There's slave owners. There's preachers. And that about sums it up. And I think they're all mixed up a little bit in there as well. Unfortunately. There's great righteous people that I know without them making the choices that they made to stand up in their generation and pray the prayers forward and speak the truth forward, that I would not have the platform to stand on of knowing who Jesus is in order to do anything that I might do to make a difference in the world. So I'm grateful for the people in my past that leaned into Jesus. But just because they did doesn't mean it's automatic. And if nobody ever stood up in your generations, as far as you know, you're not on the outside. You are an insider because the message of the gospel has gotten through to you, and you have a chance to stand up for the future generations following after you. You have an opportunity to make a difference. Bravery is not being careless and just acting as if there is no enemy. Bravery is not being fearless. Sometimes you have to do it afraid. And bravery is not bravado. It's not just braggadocious speech. It is standing up on the inside when you can't say anything on the outside. It is saying, I'm going to stand for Jesus, and I'm going to stand against the destruction that has hit my thoughts, my family, my life, my body. I'm going to stand up. I'm not going to lay down and just let it happen. Joyce said, if there is anything that I can get across to the women of this generation, it is you have to be intentional with your thought life. You have to put your thoughts in the right place and think the right things on purpose. You are your own leader. You have no one else to blame. Nobody. The song that we saw, the video with all the fun moves. I love just the freedom because we can get just so far.
Tell the truth.
I try. Something always happens. I have my shirt on backwards, inside out, with a tag on the back. In public, my husband, Judith, you might want to step aside. I try. Rarely works, but I try to work. There's sometimes being proper is not the thing that helps. Sometimes it's not the thing that helps. But to choose the thoughts that are going to put you in the right frame of mind so that the feelings are not just rampant, taking you down the stream of life to the pit, the ocean of confusion. Come on, girls. We're God's daughters. We have the right stuff in us. We are connected with the strength of heaven. We can do this. We're trying to raise children in a battlefield. We're trying to influence girls to love each other with armor on. Come on. Come on. This is the real world that we are facing. And if we do not allow the kingdom of God to rule our brains, nothing else is going to succeed. It has to start with us choosing to believe. Choosing to believe. There may be 50 thoughts in your mind all at the same time on any given moment, and there may be only one thought that focuses you on the lordship and the love of the God who made you. Choose that thought. Grab it with everything you've got and hang on to that thought until every other thought submits to that thought. That thought. It takes bravery to take that thought. It takes courage to take that thought. It takes excuses and blame and why me and how come and why I haven't and why I didn't and how I can't. It takes those things to just sit back and say, why can't somebody put me in the water? Remember the Bethesda, the guy that had been laying there for years and years and years and years, and the angel would come trouble the water and somebody would always get in before him. And Jesus come by. Jesus! Seriously, the healer, the deliverer, the Messiah, the Son of God, God in the flesh, comes and says to him, do you want to